Hello there, folks. Welcome to episode 3 of Vinyl Reveals. My name is Keith Evans. You can catch me on @RevealsVinyl on Twitter. Thanks for joining me again if you've watched this before. If you haven't, welcome to Vinyl Reveals episode number 3. So, an old hand already, you might say, or not. But again, I've written on the bottom there, name my episode. So for episode 4, if anybody wants to do a bit of a shout out or name the episode something completely zany and off the cuff, even though you don't know what the episode's going to be about, it doesn't matter. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Just direct mail me or just go on Twitter and badger me, whatever. First come, first served. Nothing naughty, of course. Just good, clean fun. Okay, so Vinyl Reveals, episode 3. Let's get underway. This was, I went to Wigan to get this, of all places. I've seen Sharon, who lives near Wigan. Hello, Sharon. I went to Wigan and I was trying to find a record shop called Static Records. I think it's still there, but I couldn't seem to find it. I don't know if it's moved to a slightly different location. It was raining. It was kind of, we're in a bit of a rush, so now I have time to kind of look, or I didn't ask anybody in Wigan. Dangerous ground getting on there, talking to people in Wigan. But yeah, so we ended up at HMV. Now I've been looking for this record for a short time. I've not heard of this band. See, I had heard of them, but I've not been aware of particularly their music until probably about 6 months ago, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I might as well just get into the bag and I can talk about that when we get into it. So here's the bag. His Master's Voice bag, not particularly changed over the years, which is quite nice, I think. And the guy in the shop was fairly knowledgeable, seemed to know the album and said, he hadn't a great album, he hadn't played it in a while, so because it took me by surprise a little bit. But so here we go, and we shall reveal this vinyl, which is this album here, which is The Horrors' Primary Colours. And this, The Horrors were formed in, I think, 2007. So we're going back to 2009 when this album came out. So going back a fair few years now. I think it was in a period where there's a plethora of bands called The something, like The Kooks and whoever else. There just seemed to be quite a dearth of bands calling themselves the something or other for some reason. Not particularly fond of it over them. It's all been done decades ago with The Jam, The Who, and The Monks, whoever else. But it's okay. Call yourself what you like. It doesn't matter. It's about the music. But anyway, so yes, as I say, I first heard about these people through an interview I was listening to on YouTube of John Foxx, the ex-lead singer in Ultravox, early Ultravox, before he left and Major took over. John Foxx is kind of one of the forerunners, taken on from like Kraftwerk of experimental electronica, so to speak. So he said that not many bands had, during this interview, I'm not sure how old the interview was, maybe 2 or 3 years old, I'm not sure. He'd said that, probably longer than that, to be honest. He'd said that the Horrors were one of the bands who kind of were like pushing the boundaries of electronic music within the rock genre, so to speak. So rock indie kind of genre. So I thought, well, I'll have a listen to them, and that's how I came about listening to them. And thought, well, you know, and this album sort of jumped out at me because they have released, I think it's four albums, I think. But this, as I say, is their second album. So I've just sort of got into there, and this is the Horrors Primary Colours, and the first thing, I paid £24.99 for this, and it's a well, I hope it's a double album. Yeah, it's a double album. So let's just take that off, and I don't mind ripping that particularly. Now have a look at the cover. Okay, here we go. And the cover's some kind of blurred. I mean, aptly to, you know, the Horrors, they're you know, conjures up images of goth rock a little bit, and I think their first album cover, quite sure what the album's called, was the first album cover. They look like the offspring of Robert Smith and Susie Sue a little bit, you know, kind of all looked a bit gothic-y, and that first album, their music on that is kind of more like goth rock based. There is the electronica there, but it's kind of still in its infancy, I would say. But this album, they seem to kind of change their style a little bit, a bit more electronica, come on, a bit more experimental, so to speak. And he's got a haunting voice, this guy. So the guy's name is Faris Badwan. His kind of name jumped out at me there, but none of the others, their names did. But the lead singer, and I assume the writer, I'm not sure, is Faris Badwan. Yeah, so there you go, quite a unique name there. But there's the cover. So I think for this cover, it's a bit like themselves musically, and moving on, it's a bit more, who are we? Who is this band? Are we who you thought we were? This kind of thing. That's kind of thing I'm getting from this. But I quite like that. Quite a nice orange tint to it, and they don't look particularly, the bit you can see of them don't particularly look like they first did on their first album, even though I think there was only like 2 years between the two albums. So there's your cover, and it's not a gatefold, it's all in one. So we'll just go on to the back, and on the back we've got the Horrors, and then the track listing there. It's quite nice, nicely set out, an image there of boardwalk on a lake by the look of it. A couple of guys walking down, quite what significance that is, not sure. And the track listing is side one, Mirror's Image, 3 decades, Who Can Say, Do You Remember, a New Ice Age, and on side B, got Scarlet Fields, I Only Think of You, I Can't Control Myself, Primary Colours, and C, Within a Sea. And written and arranged by the Horrors, excuse me, the Horrors, produced, mixed and engineered by Craig Silvey, Jeff Barrow and the Horrors. 3 decades, and primary colours produced by Chris Cunningham, additional production and mixed by Jeff Barrow, Craig Silvey and the Horrors again. The artwork on this album is by Kieran O'Shea, and they are managed by Martin Hall for Hall or Nothing. All or Nothing, there you go. And it's on Excel Recordings. Okay, we've got a catalogue number of XLLP 418. Okay, that's the top and bottom of it. Quite like how that's set out, nice and simple, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, all very legible. Nice kind of almost like a Art Deco font there for the Horrors, alluding to their, you know, their roots, shall we say. Okay, so from there going inside, without further ado, put that down there. Okay, what have we got here? Okay, looks like some kind of form of poster, fold out poster. Well, there you go, square poster, probably about 500mm square, of the cover. It's quite nice, I quite like that, a bit different. And then on the reverse, we have the guys in the band. Pictures of them, picture of the back cover, and in each panel we have the lyrics, which are nice and big, legible, so that's straight up my street. The only issue with this, of course, is when you listen to it and you got the lyrics, you're kind of going, you know, it's not the most easily held or managed piece of paper to actually read the lyrics off, I suppose you would say. But all nice and big there, and I don't think I've ever seen lyrics printed quite that big ever before. If you have, please let me know, but I kind of doubt that. But it's colourful, but it's there, and it does what it says on the tin, so I don't think you can really argue too much with that. So it's okay. It's okay. The shots are quite candid kind of shots. They're not they're took on somebody's phone, to be honest, and some of them are a bit blurred. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, it would have been nice to have a little bit more of a kind of bit more stylistically shot, maybe. I don't know. So it doesn't really go particularly with the cover. I don't think it's kind of a bit chalk and cheese, almost a little bit. No, it is what it is, and there are some good points about that. So I'll put that down there, and then on the inside we've just got two black, shiny, glossy sleeves with the records in. Nothing differentiating those at all that I can see. So I'm not sure which one's which and how many songs we've got on each side. Probably going to end up with 2, 3 on one, 2 on the other, this kind of thing. So okay, this is The Horrors I Only Think of You, I Can't Control Myself, which of course I'm going to have to refer back to this. And those are the second and third tracks on the what I'd term is side B. And then the other side we've got Primary Colours there, C Within a C. So we've got the last 4 songs on this disc, and it's XL Recordings, XLLP 418. The disc there is just quite plain, printed black and white, as you can see. Same on the other side. On the runoff, you've just got the catalogue number again. It just says RJ and then Sterling in capitals. There is something up this side. Quite get the light on it. And just a number, I think. Just a number that means something to somebody. That's quite nice. Nice heavyweight vinyl. Yeah, at least 180. Black. Plain old black. So that's that. So without wasting too much time, get on to the second one. And we've got on here Mirror's Image, 3 Decades Who Can Say on that side. Okay, same again. And on the other side, Do You Remember, New Ice Age and Scarlet Fields. So yeah, you've got the least you've got on the side is 2 tracks, which is kind of just about manageable. I mean, I don't mind having these albums done over a couple of albums. A couple of pieces of vinyl. To be honest, I can kind of manage that. It's when you get to 3 pieces and 4 pieces of vinyl. 3 is the most I've seen for one like 11 or 12 track album, which is could be a little bit of a challenge. Like 1 record on one side. Well, then I've got to get up and turn it over and 2 records on the side. And I'm more of a give me the album on 1 disc type of guy, you know. But I'm okay with 2. It's just sort of a way of them making a little bit more money. I think an album they'd normally be selling for 18 quid. They're going to sell it for 25 quid essentially and make a bit more profit. But there you go. So I don't mind that. There's nothing overly fancy about it. design-wise style. But there we go, we're into it, and shortly thereafter I shall pop it on. But as I say, so a quick review of the album. It's kind of progressive post-punk, I'd say, at this stage. They've had a distinct journey from it's kind of goth rock, and I'll say they've done, their last album was called V in 2017, and that's even more kind of going a little bit more sort of lo-fi, a bit more kind of not dancey, but just kind of understated, more about the lyrics and this kind of thing. So they have had a progression, but I thought this Primary Colours just sort of got them at their most inventive kind of thing, really. And I thought the electronic, the synth stuff on there was quite interesting, the way it's layered, the way it stops and starts, just interesting stuff, some good layering and things like that. So anyway, I'll just say this band are from Southend-on-Sea originally. I'm not sure if they're doing much at the moment. I did have a look on their Twitter, and it didn't seem like they'd done or had much activity since 2017, since the last album. So I'm not sure quite what's happening. Not sure if have they broken up, or are they kind of just having a break, or are they doing other things? Not really sure. So we'll see what happens there. They have supported Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, who kind of, you could think, well, yeah, they've got a bit of their sound to them, and they've also supported New Order and Depeche Mode, so they're in some quite esteemed company there, you could say. Some of the big boys there, and obviously New Order and Depeche Mode want them along, and happy enough to have them on board. So if those guys are seeing something in these guys, hopefully you will too. So let's give this album a listen. So moving on, as I say, we've got Primary Colours. It was recorded in Bath. It doesn't actually give you that many details on the actual album itself, about where it was recorded. There's not much, unless I missed something blatantly obvious. There's not a lot on there to give you any details. And it was apparently it was NME's top album of 2009, so in their top 50. And it was released on the 4th of May. So, as I say, this album's been around a while, but as I've only kind of discovered it 6 months ago. So it's a good album. Again, it's got decent structure to it. Starts a little bit slow, but it's got a nocturnal feel to it, which, like the album cover, gets over. And what this band is a little bit about. The singer, I forgot his name. It was such a weird name, I can't remember it. Faris. The singer Faris is he's got quite a haunting voice. Knows how to use it well. There's interesting use of synth driven melodies within it. I thought the second song on the album, 3 Decades, it had background sounds in there akin to Once Upon a Time in the West, where you've got this, they're waiting. If you've seen Once Upon a Time in the West, they're waiting at the railway station for the guy to come along, and the first 10-15 minutes of the film seems to be just them waiting for him to come in on the train, and it's got these little sounds going on in the background, the wind blowing through the place, and the chime going, and there's something blowing. So it's got that kind of feel to it and that sound to it. It's quite nice, I thought. And actually, on the first thing that struck me on the first song, Mirror's Image, was the My Bloody Valentine sort of swooning and wailing guitars. It reminded me of them, out the box. That's kind of that sound as well. But they've got it's a good blend of they've done well here to blend the synth stuff, electronic stuff with the guitar stuff, and that in itself can be quite a thing. And the guy's got a powerful voice as well, so it's kind of, you got 3 things there that it's going to be difficult to make work, I think. Maybe on their the other albums, since maybe they've not quite reached the same height as this album, but I think on this album they've done a great job. Really carry some weight, and it's just good stuff. I thought going on to the third song, which was the second single, Who Can Say, for some reason reminded me of Ice Cream Vans. There must be some melody in there, I can't quite remember, but it sort of had this sound to it. and it's interjected with biting guitars and rolling drums. A lot of rolling drums on this, and they got some good lyrics in this. And there's a key change to a monologue, sort of like a third of the way through. And they say, "And when I told her I didn't love her anymore, she cried. And when I told her her kisses were not like before, she cried. And then I kissed her with a kiss that could only mean goodbye." So I thought that was some good lyrics in there. I'll get into the lyrics further when I have a good read and see exactly what they are. But that sort of struck me as being some pretty cool, good lyrics there. And though it hurt for me to say, maybe you're better off this way. So really good song, really driven song. It's an interesting, it's got parts as well structured and great lyrics. So can't argue with that at all. And then throughout this, I've scored these songs like kind of 8s and 9s. So all the way through, it's fairly consistent. There are 2 or 3 where you think you kind of nod off a little bit. But again, they've got Do You Remember and New Ice Age. New Ice Age is tension filled. He sings slightly differently on this one. He's like more of a spitting Johnny Rotten style. It's like a punk influenced melody. It sounds quite punky, this one, as opposed to the rest of the songs. So it's just a nice little break halfway through. You're looking for something a little bit different, and this kind of jumps out. Yeah, oh my God, he's Johnny Rotten is there somewhere, and it's but yeah, I like that one. We go on to number 7. They've got some quite long songs, and like go on for like 7 or 8 minutes, some of these songs. And the first longest song is I Only Think of You. Again, it's got his haunting vocals, fairly dark subject matter. It's got this whirling songs in it again. They've got this electronic thing, this organ grinder, bagpipe type feel, and with a momentum build to it. And there's a lyric in there, I will carry you home, which I thought was quite nice as well, sort of something to link on. I gave that 8.5, thought that was really good. And then it just finishes really, really strong. This side B, really it's just interesting all the way through. Number 8, I Can't Control Myself. Sounds a bit like Doors and Black Angels kind of sound to it. So again, a slight little change in the emphasis of it and the way it sounds. Wouldn't have been out of place in an Apocalypse Now movie. I'll put that kind of feel to it. And there's some tambourine in there. I've made a note of some tambourine, and then got 9 Primary Colours, which is the title tune. It's got a lush background of layered dreamscapes. That's what I've put. I think it's a good, decent song, good song there. And then carrying on to number 10, a really, really strong finish, I thought. So you've got like a really good start again, and you've got a great finish. Some of these songs there leave until last on these albums now. Nowadays, I like a good last song. I don't like this thing just to drift off. I always feel it's important to get a good song on the end of your album. And yet Sea Within a Sea, and that was the first single off the album. It's synth driven. It's got a horror synth to it. It's got some very strong structure in this. It's like a proper like Friday night. You've had a few ales at home. You're a bit kind of, you just want to listen to me. It's one of those songs where you kind of almost gets you dancing as well. Really like kind of it's a bit anthemic. Like shades of Joy Division in there a little bit, some of the bass, things like this. And there's a line in there, will your dreams stay rooted in the shallows? And it's got some computer game style effects in there. It's very interesting. They've done a good job of melding all these bringing this electronica in a different way. It's not the norm, and it's quite a unique sound I felt on this, and sound like anybody else on this album particularly. So really happy with this purchase. The guy's got a strong voice. There's heavy guitar, there's synths in there, the lyrics are good. There's been a lot to fit in, and I think they've done an admirable job, a really good job. It's a distinct sound, so please feel free to check them out. The Horrors, and this album in particular, Primary Colours, which I paid £24.99 for. and it's money well spent. So I shall just pop one of these on. I'll just sort of go a little bit randomly. We'll go for Do You Remember? And that is one of 3 on this disc. So I'll just pop that on. Bear with me a second. Okay, here we go. So that was episode 3. And this is The Horrors, and this is the album Primary Colours from 2009. And check it out. Obviously, really think you should go and get this album. Really good. Very different. You can find me at Reveals Vinyl. And that's it for today. Look out for episode 4 coming soon. And don't forget, you can name episode 4 if you wish. Be my guest and go out there, enjoy your evening, and put some music on, go for it. Take care. Bye.